For the second straight game, the Union were held goalless en route to a 1-0 loss on Saturday. We dissect the result against NYCFC before turning the page to the start of a homestand against two Eastern Conference foes. All that and more as Union Insider starts right now. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Union Insider presented by Independence Blue Cross. I'm your host, Marisa. I'm here alongside Sebastian Letou and Sheanon Williams, as always. So lovely to see you, gentlemen. The Union were back in action this weekend, looking to rebound off a 0-0 draw at home against Orlando City SC, and just days after the team traded Daniel Gazdag to Columbus Crew in a blockbuster deal. So the Union took I-95 up to Queens to take on rivals NYCFC at Citi Field, looking to get back into the win column. Let's take you through the highlights of how this one played out. The first big moments of the game came in the 12th minute. NYCFC on the attack. They play a cross in that's missed, but the ensuing bounce finds an NYCFC player, fires it at Andrew Rick, but Rick is there to make a huge save to keep the game tied at 0-0. The Union would then get their chance to strike back. Just a few minutes later, the ball finds the feet of Quinn Sullivan right outside the box, who fires an attempt at goal, but it's blocked down by a New York City defender to halt that chance. On to the second half now, and New York City would strike first in this one. Mitya Ilinic sends one 40 yards down the field in space to Alonso Martinez, who beats Macania, and then a sliding Andrew Rick to put one on goal and in. The Union find themselves in a 1-0 hole early in the second half. The Union would have a few chances later in the second half, including the cross from Nate Harriel that goes to Chris Donovan at the edge of the box. He puts a powerful header on it, but it goes right to Matt Freese, and the Union would fall in this one by a score of 1-0. Their second straight game without a goal, and their third straight game without a win after starting the season winning 4 of their first 5. Okay, guys. We know that there's never really a true time to panic. It's still early on in the season. It's only April. But as the results have been going the last couple matches, what do you make of some of the consistent themes we're seeing?
I mean, for me, as a ex-forward, it's the lack of goals. Right now for the team, it's been 2 games where Orlando we tie 0-0. This one we lose 1-0. We don't put the ball in the back of the net. That we saw like a lot from the first few games of the season. But right now we are kind of like in a dry season. So can we get the offense going? Is kind of like the question mark for me. We talk about Gazdag being traded. Who could be the guy stepping a bit more higher in this team to provide the forward? I think in this game against New York City FC, we didn't have the ball really into the box for Baribo, for Damiani, who are our striker to put the ball in the back of the net, and the service was not here. We play a lot of wide, a lot of like ball into the box, like hoping for the best, but not really some good combination into the midfield to the forward to get some chances of goal.
What did you think, Sheanon? What was the downfall for the Union in this one?
So Seba went with the attack. I'll go with the defense. Right now, it's just too easy to get behind this Union team, and they're not doing a good job of giving each other cover. With the way and the style that they want to play in this high-pressing defensive formation that they have, they're 1v1 at the back, and they're just right now not doing a good enough job to keep guys in front. A lot of the goals that they've given up this season are from people just getting behind that back line, and it's one simple pass beating 10 guys, and then all of a sudden you have to have your goalkeeper come out, and Andrew Rick didn't do a good job on that situation in the NYCFC game. Thought he probably should have stayed and let his defense in front of him handle that situation. Something that as a backup goalkeeper you have to get on the same page with your defense in those situations. So I think that right now they're just too high and they're too easy to get behind and get exploited that way. And I think teams have now seen that on tape and will continue to exploit that for as long as they need to until they fix that.
Sheanon, do you think that the size and shape of the field they were playing on at all kind of led into that a little bit more?
You always have to take that into account. I think the field size and the dimensions are definitely different, but for me, that's something that we always prepared for. We always had a field that was made in those same dimensions so that you were used to it. We saw a lot of balls getting over the last guy on crosses and just being crossed way too deep. So that's something that I think that they maybe weren't ready for, something that they probably should have spent a little bit more time on. The field size is definitely a huge difference when you go to NYCFC and you play at Citi Field or Yankee Stadium.
And Seba, you said the lack of service was really the big part of not getting the offense going. What would you have wanted to see to have that going a little bit better?
I mean, I always come back to the first game, the success we got away in Orlando. I think, the help of the fullback is really important. I don't think, Nathan Ariel really pushed too much forward, on the right side with Quinn Sullivan, who played on the right side starting that game. We saw him, more like worried about defensively, be with the back four. I think, the Kai Wagner coming back was not maybe like fully fit. He was not maybe at his best as well in his delivery, not really finding, like Sheanon said, more the back post into, the middle of the box. So it's a lot of like kind of the way the offense of the Union is doing right now is pretty predictable for each team. We are going around, the block. We play, the ball to the feet of Damiani and Baribo, who maybe have the same style of play as well. There's not so much, deep run into the box. So I would love to see a better cohesion, between everybody from the midfield to the forward to combine and kind of like bring people into the box to get, those chances that we got against Orlando when we always have, 2, 3, 4 guys in the box when it was Westfield and Kai Wagner, crossing the ball. So I would like to see that more with no fear about, pushing number forward to get some goals.
So while the Union didn't score on Saturday, the club's young goalkeeper made a huge save to keep the Union in the game early, and it gets the spotlight in this week's Key Play of the Week presented by Subaru. Shannon's over at the video board to break down Andrew Rick's 12th minute save. Shannon?
Our Key Play of the Week is Andrew Rick's save in the 12th minute to keep this game at 0-0. If we run the video here, it's just a combination in the channel out left between Maxi Morales and O'Toole. Plays a good ball into the box. Kai Wagner, not a great job clearing it. Andrew Rick then does a great job to step up, keep himself big, and make the save. This second angle is a much better angle here, as we'll get to see him up close. And you're going to see a couple things here. The first thing he tries to do is step up to the ball to close the angle. You can see him closing that angle, making sure that he makes the goal as small as possible. If we hit play again, you see him just stay tall and give himself the best chance to make the save, and then the rebound goes wide from Ojeda. But again, he does a really good job to step up, close the angle, and not go down too soon. You see a lot of goalkeepers, especially young goalkeepers, go down really quickly to try and anticipate a ball on the ground. He stays up, does a really good job of just staying his ground and making that angle as tight as possible for Wolf on the back post. Again, we see him step to the ball here and then just stay tall. So a good save from the young goalkeeper, and it kept his team at 0-0.
We've got more Union Insider for you in a bit, but first, here's your Union trivia question presented by United Concordia. Which player in Union history has the most career goals against Atlanta United? Find out the answer later in the show. Welcome back to Union Insider presented by Independence Blue Cross. One of the newest members of the Union has not taken long to get used to his new team, and the energy he brings every day is second to none. We're of course talking about Indiana Vasilev, who was acquired by the Union in February from St. Louis City SC. Vasilev was mic'd up for a recent training session, and it did not disappoint. Take a listen.
Mike,
I'm just gonna say something bad.
Mika, don't get the people a false impression of who you are. You would never say anything bad. You're an angel of this world of demons.
I know. Have you ever heard the unedited versions of those?
Mic'd up? No.
It's bad.
Billy Jean-Jacques. Ah! No, I want you to put it Whipsky, Binsky. That's my ball. I want you to whip it top corner.
Are we live?
No, we're not live. It's not live, bro. It's definitely not on me.
Dill, are we live?
We're not live.
Yes, it's not in his head, you idiot.
We can't put that in the video. We can put that in the video, though. This is a danger zone. I think I should let everybody know that I'm mic'd up first before. Bruno, what did you say about me the other day?
That you're the greatest guy I ever meet.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that.
I didn't know.
I was expecting that. Actually, I wasn't expecting that.
Oh, bro, you're the FBI.
I'm the FBI right now. What did you say about me the other day?
No way!
What did you say about me the other day?
No way!
What was that? What did you say about me? Something bad, right?
Masters, man.
That's not what you said.
You have a mic?
I'm mic'd up today. His extra layer is killing me. Hey, we got a hat available?
Serious?
Yeah, it's cold outside for me. I got it. Sorry, Isaiah. I didn't even see you going there. That's how fast you were. I have the mic. So don't say anything bad, unless it's about Jovan. Jovan, I don't want to speak to you today.
You are mad now, huh?
I'm not mad. We're on the same team. We're on the same team. Why are you playing against me? Why is everybody stepping to me today? Usually nobody, you know, people just leave me alone. Just let me live life. Oh, absolutely whacked. Red card, one yellow card, 2 yellow cards, you. Sent off, you.
You're not good anymore.
What?
You don't love me anymore. You're not good.
Come on, man. Always love me and you.
Fame, change.
Come on, oranges. Step, you on step. You on step. Hold on, tie! Billy Jean-Jacques. Yeah. I have the microphone. I appreciate you, big dog. Ah! Yes, I was there, Mika. Yes! Good ball, Jean-Jacques. Jean-Jacques. Dinley, Jean-Jacques. Dinley. It smells like coffee. Can you smell it? Like coffee. Watch it, right foot, right in the corner. Come on. All right, I'm getting out of here.
The Union Academy is a huge part of the club's overall identity, and while a lot of Academy players come from the surrounding areas, some travel from elsewhere to play here and need housing. Enter Cecilia, the Philadelphia Union Academy house mother, who has helped raise some of the Union's future stars.
Everything for the for dinner is at the table, okay? So you're fixing your own taco bowls today.
Just don't wanna characterize it anything.
No. John, what do you think? Hamburgers and a hot dog. Not a sandwich? Not a sandwich. Lennon, what do you think?
My name is Cecilia Gill. I am the house residency parent for the Philadelphia Union Academy. I first got involved with the Union when my son Frederick was scouted by the Union in 2015. He was playing in Florida, and we had one of the scouts approach us and offered him a tryout here at the Union. When my son came to the program, his whole wish was, I'm gonna go pro. And he was only 15 at the time, and my husband had a job opportunity here in Pennsylvania, and I decided, okay, let's all pick up and move to PA. When we got here, it was my third, fourth month here that one of the moms that used to be a residency parent had to leave, resigned, and I remember getting a phone call from someone I had never met before. He called me and said, hey, there's an opportunity, we'd like to meet you and sit down and talk to you about being a house parent. And I said, house parent, to how many boys? He said, well, we're talking 6 or 7. Well, that 6 or 7 was really 9, 10. And I remember getting the keys to the first house we moved into and walking in, and there was a bare house, nothing in it. So my husband and I were like, well, they want us to do this, we're gonna have to do it the right way. And we decided that we wanted to make it look like home. I can speak for the Union. They so want your son to succeed, just like I want your child to succeed. We will guarantee that your child's safe 100%. It's an environment that's gonna make him succeed, whether on the soccer field or get great opportunities to go to phenomenal colleges. I mean, those are the things that I could tell a parent. I know that I made the move and came here with my son. Not everybody can do that, but at least here with the Union, your child is surrounded in a good environment with people who care about him, and we're gonna help him succeed.
We're coming up on a break for Union Insider, but when we return, we'll look ahead to this weekend as the Union come back home to take on Atlanta United. We'll be right back after this. Time for this week's Union Update presented by Torque. The Union and Subaru, in collaboration with the Chester Ridley Crum Watersheds Association and Burns, hosted a cleanup and tree planting on the Union campus this Tuesday. Volunteers picked up trash and planted 30 native trees at the Barry Bridge Park alongside the Chester waterfront. This was part of the Greener Goals Week, which will be concluded with Greener Goals Night on Saturday when the Union take on Atlanta United. Welcome back to Union Insider presented by Independence Blue Cross. I'm Marisa Pilla, and speaking of Atlanta United, the Union return home this weekend to host Atlanta United, hopefully looking for a win. Haven't had one of those in a few weeks now, so it's time for these two to hand their keys to the game over, presented by Subaru. Seba, your key?
I mean, since, like you say, we are like now 3 games without a win and 2 games without a goal, I think, for me, the combination, with the forwards need to be a little bit better, and the movement especially. We need to kind of really have them, playing off each other, but at the same time, having maybe more support as well from the Queen Sullivan on the right, maybe Vasilev on the left, to kind of give the space then to Wagner and Ariel, if he's on the right side, to help the team offensively, to give them good cross so we have number into the box. But it starts with first feeding the forward, but at the same time, like the combination of play, making the right timing of their runs, not always the same one, and playing off each other, I think is something we're missing, and we need to disturb this defense of Atlanta.
A little more creativity, a little more unexpectedness?
Yes, I think it's something we can come from a lot of people, but everybody needs to be involved. But it starts to feeding the ball to the forward, because as a forward, when you don't touch the ball for a long time, you doubt yourself, and it's how the goal is not coming.
All right, Sheanon, for you?
For me, since Seba went with the attacking key, I'll go with the defensive one, and that's going to be to protect the space in behind the back line. This year, it's been way too easy to get behind this Union back line. They need to do a better job of giving each other cover, and also in combination with the goalkeeper playing a little bit higher so that they can do a better job of staying tight to guys while they protect that space in behind. If they can do that against attackers like Miguel Almiron and Latte Lath, I think they'll have a decent chance of having a shutout.
Do you guys expect any lineup changes or anything like that to spark maybe some more creativity or unexpectedness?
I mean, lots of things can happen, and we know how Brady Carnell has been, doing. He always give a chance to the guys who is doing well, to, maybe the Union 2 who beat Atlanta United, last week 5-1. It was not maybe the best game offensively, but it's still the beginning. We are still early in the season, so I'm sure he's going to probably take the same group and start them, against Atlanta, especially coming back at home. But I'm sure he's hoping for a reaction from this team and coming back to what they were been doing from the first few games of the year.
And are there any specific one-on-one matchups you think really play well into the favor of the Union?
I think the matchup of Miguel Almiron and Nate Harriel, I think if the Union are going to be successful, they're going to have to make Miguel Almiron defend. It's going to be big for Nate to try and get forward. Seba talked about it earlier on. They need to make sure that their wingbacks or their halfbacks are in the attack and getting forward. That forces Atlanta to go back into a more defensive shell and keeps them away from their own goal.
Earlier in the season, when the Union had their first loss of the year, we talked about it'll be interesting to see how this Bradley Carnell team responds to adversity. Now that they're in a little bit of stretch of longer, prolonged adversity, how do you think they respond?
I think they are going to respond well, just because a lot of things happen, in the past couple of weeks. Like you say, kind of the first time the team kind of losing after starting in a very high note when we were not really expecting. But then, having a few injuries of Kai Wagner missing, Andre not being at the last game, and missing, Daniel Gazdag from the trade. It's a lot of other stuff not on the field happening, but can maybe disturb, the team and the group. So hopefully they refine their identity, this week, and they play as a team that we saw, when they get the result. The ways I've been playing, and it was not just a one-man show, but it was everybody playing the same way and coming back at the subs. Hopefully we see that, and we saw more energy, from the team offensively to put the ball in the back of the net.
Well, it's time for our last break of the show, but when we return, the guys will give their final thoughts on the Union's matchup on Saturday against Atlanta United. Union Insider will wrap up right after this. Here's the answer to this week's Union Trivia question presented by United Concordia. Kacper Przybyłko has done the most damage of any player in Union history against Atlanta United, scoring 5 goals against them in his Union career. All right, it's our final segment here on Union Insider presented by Independence Blue Cross. So it's time for these guys to share their final thoughts for the show in this week's edition of Final Whistle presented by Allstate. Sheanon, what are your final thoughts?
Can this team bounce back from a little bit of adversity? Been a while since this team's been able to pick up a win and jump back in that win column. Can they do a good job of playing with urgency back at the Sub in front of their home fans and get this crowd going?
Yeah, and I'm going to go with what Sheanon just says, this word, very good for me to say in English, urgency. I think it's something the team were missing in the last 2 games at home. I think we need to really like put more energy into this game, play quick, not being frustrating maybe with the referee who might not be in our side again that game, but put some rhythm into that game. I think when the team, play at a fast pace, they make, Atlanta United, defend, playing in their back foot, and it's where, you can be able to score the goal. So I'm really looking forward to see more energy from the team, from everybody, from the goalkeeper to the offense, and kind of like have a big win together, because it's the way I think this team is always at its best.
Yeah, and I want to see remember those games where we had like 4 or 5 goals? Those were fun. Let's have one of those again. All right, that's going to do it for this one. The Union are back at home for the first of 2-game homestand as they'll take on Atlanta United. Seba will be alongside Dave Leno for the radio call on 97.5 The Fanatic. The game can also be seen on MLS Season Pass. So for Seba and Sheanon, I'm Marisa, and we'll see you next week.